Welcome to our online election board worker training for inspectors. We normally like to do training in person, but with the current environment, we know it is best to do training in this manner. While we are in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, it's important for us to all remain safe. This training will allow you to understand your role as an inspector. If you have not reviewed the online training for Clerks and Judges, we ask that you first review that training before reviewing the inspector training. Inspectors are paid $9.60 per hour plus 57.5 cents per mile reimbursement for mileage. The inspector will also receive $7 for a supply pickup stipend. The inspector serves as the supervisor of the precinct. You will find inspector duties on page 9 to 15 of the election board manual. 1 to 2 weeks before the election, the inspector must contact the polling place to make arrangements that the facility is open at 7 a.m. on election day and for any other arrangements you may need on election day. 2, call your board workers to confirm that they are planning on working. If a board worker indicates that they cannot work, please call Brian immediately. You will pick up your new ExpressVote the day before the election, and you will have that with you, so you do not need to worry about locating it on election morning. You may contact the facility and go and check the voting area so you have a familiarity of how you're going to set up the voting area. And finally, make sure you have an extra table available for voters who would like to sit and vote. The day before the election, ballot pickup, ballot and supply pickup. You'll pick up your ballots and supplies, which will include your ballots, ballot supply box, ballot box, signage, ExpressVote, and the ballot return box. Please follow the election supply pickup map on page 11 of your manual. Before leaving the parking lot, please make sure you have all of your supplies. Check that you have the ballots for your precinct, and if you're in a precinct with more than one ballot style, that you have all the proper styles. Double check that you have your list of registered voters for your precinct. This should be in the blue book of your ballot box. Also make sure that you have any additional signs that you may need. New for the November election, inspectors will receive the ExpressVote when picking up the supplies on the Monday prior to the election. Inspectors will also return the ExpressVote to the election office with the other supplies after the polls close on election night. The day of the election before the polls open. If you have an absent election board worker, please call Brian in the election office immediately. 2, make sure every election board worker has signed the oath on the front of the sign-in register. Make sure everyone has completed the payroll form. Make sure the ExpressVote is set up. Make sure your polling booths are set up. Unpack your supply box. New this year, black pins will be used to mark the ballot. We will no longer be using pencil. Make sure all your signs are posted. Those are located on page 13 of your manual. Make sure you post the sample ballots. For this election, you have to make sure that you have one posted both front and back of each ballot for each ballot style. Check your ballots for precinct name and for ballot style if you are in one of those precincts that have more than one ballot style. Publicly open the ballot box so all board workers can see that the ballot box is empty, then lock the ballot box up. You will receive a list of voters who cast an early ballot after the list of voters was printed. Please print the word absentee in the column, print voter's name column, so you will know that this voter has requested an early vote ballot. Brief your workers, review procedures and duties for each board worker. Initialing the ballot. Make sure that your election board workers understand that to make a ballot official, that it must contain 2 sets of initials at the bottom of the ballot. On page 15 of your manual, you will find a suggested polling place layout. In your ballot box, you will find your spoiled and rejected ballot envelopes. You will also find your ExpressVote testing materials. Please follow the instructions on the front of the sign-in register of what should be placed in the sign-in register at the end of the night. We are not going to have an early return of ballots on election afternoon. All ballots are to be returned after the close of polls at 8 o'clock on election night. Returning your equipment and supplies information will be found on the manual on page 33. Bring inside the election office all ballots sealed in the ballot transport box, the blue book, the payroll form signed and removed from the blue book, padlocks and keys, your sign-in register envelope, and everything included in the sign-in envelope. Bring to the warehouse. Please stay in your vehicle. All items will be removed for you, but you'll bring in the metal ballot box, make sure it's empty, voting booths, precinct maps, supply box, unused ballots in the unused ballot bag, the ExpressVote, and all other items. Please follow the map on page 34 of the manual when returning to the election office after the polls close. A week to 10 days prior to the election, you should receive your inspector packet from the office. In the packet, you will receive a letter outlining the specifics for this election. In the packet, you will have cards with your precinct name on it. You will place this in your window when you pick up your supplies on the day prior to the election. In your packet, you will have a list of your election board workers with contact information. In your packet, you will also have information with specific information to your precinct and contact information for those responsible for your polling site, such as a manager or a janitor or something like that. In your packet, you will also have information regarding the other inspectors if you are in a precinct with more than one precinct. If you're on a precinct with more than one ballot style, you will have information regarding that as well. You will also have an evaluation form for your clerks and judges. Please complete and return to our office either in the sign-in register envelope or return to Brian after the election. In your packet, you will have a list of supplies that will be in your supply box. You will also have your name tag indicating you are an inspector. Thank you. The training for inspectors is now complete. Have a great election day.